This video is brought to you by Vendor Finance. If you're looking for car finance and want the best available motor finance rates, check out vendorfinance.ie and apply online today. Vendor Finance is 100% Irish owned. See the comment section for more details.
Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. Now today we have an interesting little test for you. If you follow us on Instagram, which you should, we ran a Hot Hatch World Cup a few months ago and we had all the big players, all the big hitters in there, and to my surprise, I'll admit, the Skoda VRS won, and today we are testing out two of them in very different flavours.
So the range of flavours of Octavia RSs has increased this year, so it's no longer a straight call between petrol and diesel. We've now got this new fandangled plug-in electric version of the Octavia RS. And this is powered by a 1.4 litre turbocharged 150 HP petrol engine with the help of a 13 kilowatt hour battery, which ups that power uptake to 245 HP and gives it an electric range of about 60 kilometres on the WLTP cycle. But in real life,
really get?
45.
That's pretty decent.
Not bad.
I'd take that, yeah.
And what are you packing under there?
I've got a bit more old school, and it is a 2 litre diesel, 200 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque. It's old school, but I like it.
But what about the environment, Anthony?
You know, like there's a trade-off here. It's 32 degrees in Ireland in July, and global warming is, it has its upside, sort of.
Controversial.
Very controversial, but my pasty skin needs a tan, big time.
Okay, right. Should we have a quick word on the looks? Can I just say I wasn't remotely surprised that the RS won the Hot Hatch Olympics. It's an institution on Irish roads. I, for one, am a huge fan.
Yeah, personally, really like the most recent one, and these are very good looking. Now, I will say this is a great example of why colour choice matters in a car, and it's great to see it in the metal here in front of us. And race blue metallic, greater than silver.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think race blue is the only colour to have your RS in. That, or if you're even braver again, that great mamba green colour.
Yes, that is very true. Now you pay for this, 200, mamba green is free if you're feeling really brave.
Really? Now that said, I was pleasantly surprised by the silver in the metal because I kind of dig the more subtle, sophisticated sleeper vibe that this one has. It's still quite a mean looking car. You've still got your massive 19-inch anthracite alloy wheels with those red brake calipers peeking through. That's actually one of my favourite things about the car.
A little peek of red caliper.
They're awesome.
They are good. I do like the grey alloys on a silver. Not fully sold on them on the blue. I'd probably just go full silver with my blue. And one other thing I have noticed about your car is it's sort of perched up there a bit high. This is nice and low. Yours is...
Good spot.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Because of all the battery business going on underneath here, it does indeed sit a bit higher than yours, and I do not get your sports suspension.
Ooh, that's a bad start. There's a good fistful in there, I'd say, and nothing here. Sporty.
Yes, and that's not the only difference made by the plug-in hybrid system. If you want to come around to the boot, I can show you.
Sinead, these are hot hatches. We're not allowed to start at the boot.
But it's an Octavia.
Oh yeah,
The boot is its superpower.
The boot is like magic Octavia power. Right, we'll start at the boot, so.
Grand. So, your standard Octavia boot is what, like 600 litres?
That's what mine is. Mine's 600.
Massive. Unfortunately, I lose 150 litres to the battery pack and charging cables.
Yeah, typical hybrid, isn't it? Typical hybrid.
Typical hybrid. That is, that's a big deal for me now, because one of my favourite things about the Octavia is just how massive that boot is. I never understand how they can have such a big boot in a car so neat.
Yeah, it's such a sleek look with a massive boot.
It surprises me every time I open the thing.
Yeah. People get shocked when they open Octavia boots. It's ridiculous.
It's a well-kept secret, and one of the reasons why the RS is so popular, I think. So, disappointed with that.
Yeah, it is a bit disappointing.
It's still big, it's just not Octavia big.
Yeah, it's not what it's sold on, basically, for the past 20 years.
Other than that, it's got all the usual good Octavia boot stuff. You've got quick release buttons to drop the back seats, shopping bag hooks galore. It's still a decent boot, it's just not.
Yeah, it's not.
As good as yours.
This is van-like when you drop those seats, and we have all the same accoutrement in there, all those bits, and yeah, better boot. I win. Boot space.
You win. Oh my God,
Come on.
I pulled it at a wrong angle. I try and close it again there.
No, Tim, leave that in. I'm talking to future editing, Tim. That bit was the bit.
Right, well, let me have a look in your back seat then.
Go for it.
They are exactly the same as what's in mine.
Yeah,
And I would fit in there very comfortably.
as do I. So which one are we in? Because I've forgotten.
So this is the IV interior, made obvious by absolutely nothing, because it's the same awesome RS interior as what's in yours, and they've both been kitted out with the optional RS interior pack, which adds some really nice features, like these amazing RS bucket seats.
They are good.
They're awesome, and they come with electric lumbar support
Ooh.
and a massage function.
Yeah, I don't want to get into this whole massage function because I've tried it and I'm not a big fan.
You don't like the massage function? You don't like
No.
being too comfortable?
I don't like being touched, particularly,
Thanks for the warning.
particularly by a car in a very odd fashion around my lower back, just sort of poking around in there.
Right. Other than that, you got some nice little, you know, your usual sports car interior
Of course.
stuff, your carbon along
Default
the dashboard,
Alcantara.
Alcantara.
Yes, it does look good. I'll give it that. The only real difference you have is obviously some extra EV and battery stuff and
That's
all
right,
that crap
yeah.
on the
So
infotainment.
on your touch screen, you have some, as you said, some extra data around your battery usage and stuff, and also some really clever stuff around timing your charging.
Okay, yes.
So you can set it up to come on at a certain time and charge, and I think that will really help with the discipline of keeping your plug-in hybrid charged.
You need to be a good, disciplined individual to buy a hybrid. That is 100% the most important thing for hybrid drivers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Up in front of me, we have the digital cockpit as well, which is the business. And my default is straight to sat-nav because I think it makes so much sense to have your sat-nav.
So good.
Oh,
Reminds
so
me of being,
good.
it's like you're being in a video game.
Yeah,
And that's
basically.
one feature that has never lost its shine for me.
Not at all, no. You should get it if you can, for certain.
But you're not so sure.
No, I'm not.
You're not so certain about the RS interior pack.
I'm not. Do you know what? I know it looks good, but it's $2,500
It is pricey.
for these seats, basically. I know leather, Alcantara, they look good, but massage is a pain, and $2,500 is a bit too much. I'd go standard.
I like the special feeling it gives to the inside of the car, and plus me being in the IV, the good thing is that there's a €2,500 government grant which basically pays for my massage seat, so
That is shocking. How dare you abuse the system like that? I don't think anyone would do that, would they?
no.
No. But otherwise, do you know what? It looks really well, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Plenty of RS badging.
VRS, it's literally VRS, not RS.
On that, okay, right, I need to clear this up because
Oh,
I
God,
know,
here's a
we're gonna have loads of comments. Every single RS video I do, it's VRS. Skoda were originally RS. They had to add the V for the UK market, something to do with Ford and the RS branding there. Although you've
Performance
also got the Renault RS, so I don't know why that's not a problem. But anyway, they had to tap on the V for the UK market, but Ireland and the rest of Europe go by RS.
But we have VRS on them.
We do. I guess they went to the trouble of making the cars right-hand drive for the,
For the
UK
UK.
and Ireland market, and thought that was enough, and we could deal with the V.
Sod your badging, Ireland, you're getting the V.
So in short, in Ireland we call it the RS.
Okay, shall we find
Fight
out?
me.
So shall we find out how RS or VRS it is?
Yes, we should. Right, do you want to take this one for a spin first, because you haven't experienced the IV?
Yes, please.
So, Anthony, this is the RS IV. As I mentioned earlier, powered by a 1.4 litre TSI with the help of an electric motor, which helps to push out, when you've got some charge,
Yes.
245 HP.
I have no charge now.
You
as
don't,
we
I'm
stand.
sorry, I used it all up on the way down.
Okay, fair enough.
But on that point, it does have a clever feature where if you put it into auto mode, the car will choose which mode is better for it. So for example, when I was on the motorway, that's not the most efficient way to use your electric charge, so it went into full hybrid mode where it was mainly on the petrol power.
Where the electric motor is just supporting the engine, basically.
Yes, exactly. So essentially it conserves your electric power for a more suitable situation.
Which makes sense, so you want the EV mode around town and going a bit slower.
Exactly. So my first impressions anyway, when I collected it, the battery was empty.
Okay.
So to be honest, it didn't feel much different than a 1.4 litre petrol with a bit of extra pep.
Which is basically what I'm going through now.
This is what you're going through
Yeah.
now. And the extra weight didn't help either.
Yeah. Do you know I worked that out? Your extra bit of weight.
Yeah?
Do you know what it is over the diesel?
How much?
180 kilos.
Yikes, that's
sitting in the
a lot.
back.
It's a lot.
That's two big lads sitting in the back of the car.
So, I mean, that extra weight on a 1.4 litre petrol engine feels, I think, as you would expect it to.
Yes, it's fine without ever being amazing.
Now, when I did charge it up in electric mode, it is really lovely to drive and it is very quick off the mark, but in the way that most electric cars are.
Yes.
So it is super quick and there is loads of torque and stuff, but does it feel any more exciting than any other electric car? I'm not so sure. So while I do think perhaps someone who hasn't driven an electric car before will be impressed by the speed,
the shot of power,
the shot of power and that, is it deserving of the RS badge? I'm not so sure. It just, for me, lacks a little bit of excitement. What are your thoughts so far?
So far, after a quick little jaunt, it doesn't lend itself to the excitement. Like you're saying, it just sort of encourages you to drive it like a normal car, and where that badge is questionable, I think. Very questionable, to be honest. It doesn't really feel like a hot hatch on this initial impression anyway. I have my own personal opinion on plug-in hybrid, and in particular, it's that transition from petrol to electric to when you want both, and just those kind of niggly, clunky bits sometimes. Do we get that in this?
No, I don't find that there's any big major jolt. Like when you're switching between electric and petrol, it's all fairly seamless. I mean, you'd struggle to kind of notice at times.
That's nice.
Which one you're in. And other positives, while it might lack the excitement of the RS factor, it is extremely comfortable to drive. It's very refined. You've got your cheap road tax.
Very cheap.
120 euros.
Because we're saving the planet.
Because we're saving the planet. And then there's the fuel economy. So if you, now it is very dependent on discipline and stuff, but if you use this correctly, you can get some really impressive figures out of it. So, but that means charging it up regularly and making sure that you can do your commutes within that.
You get such opposite ends of the scale with a plug-in hybrid, because at the moment we have no charge and we're not doing the environment any favours. So we're just eating petrol basically.
Exactly. So do you know what the funny thing about this is?
What?
I don't know if I mentioned this so far, it should be full disclosure, but I actually own a diesel RS and I love it, but it's getting on a bit in years, and obviously when it comes to trading in, I would like something a bit more environmentally friendly, plus circumstances have changed and I don't need a diesel anymore. So if I could have written the blueprint for my ideal car, it would have been...
This is it.
It would have been an Octavia RS with some kind of electric element to it, or some kind of planet-friendly feature. And they bring out what is essentially on paper my perfect car, but yet...
Don't meet your heroes kind of thing?
It's not it.
It's not it. That's a shame. Because you would want it to be good, but I just don't know if it's worth it.
Like I said, it's so good at certain things, but I think the RS badge is almost jarring because the expectation is there for this excitement that doesn't really come. And another thing that it's missing is any kind of acoustic excitement at all. That's even if you put it into sport mode and you give it some, you can kind of hear the faintest hint of a tint.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Yeah, that 1.4 is not going to set your pants on fire, shall we say?
No, unfortunately not.
So Sinead, welcome to the past, or diesel as it's better known.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, it's a lot nicer than my 10-year-old.
Is it? They've made progress.
Definitely made progress.
Not too bad, is it? So that 2-litre diesel, as we alluded to earlier, is 200 brake horsepower, 400 Newton meters of torque, and we have the 7-speed DSG gearbox too.
RIP, the manual RS.
Yeah, as far as I can tell from the Skoda Ireland configurator, no manual here.
No manual, mine's manual.
Yours is old school. I think they have a manual in the UK, and I think the petrol as well, but as far as I can tell here, no, not quite. Now, very important is obviously 0 to 100 kilometers an hour time. That's a bragging point for people. And this does it in 7.4 seconds.
Oh, do you know what the IV does it in?
What does it do it in?
7.3.
7.3. Oh, you got that whole 0.1 better than me. Yeah, now both of those figures don't sound amazing on paper. To be fair, like, they're not up there, but this car's actual party piece is that mid-range kick, that when you get that torque in 3rd, 4th gear and you're at that right sweet spot of 1500 revs and just plant the foot, goes, absolutely takes off. It's great for that.
No, it's actually similar in the IV. I have to say the elasticity is great.
Yes, that's the best bit about it. And the steering is actually nicely weighted on this too. I I do think it feels a bit meatier than your
It's
one.
definitely heavier.
Yeah, and it's a bit more representative of just the size of the car and
It
the
feels
feel.
sportier.
It does, doesn't it? And when you actually are on your own and you can get into a flow with it, it's very competent and you can kind of just cruise along with it nicely. It's not, what would I say? It's not got a huge amount of feel and not a huge amount of feedback, but it's very competent and very nicely weighted. Now you do find its limits pretty early in comparison to other hot hatches, and it will feel like it's understeering and just sort of losing that bit of grip, but otherwise it's very competent.
Do you know what would have been really great?
What?
A drag race.
It would.
But as it stands, we can't even open it up the slightest because we've got a very expensive camera strapped to the bonnet and the GoPro
And
isn't
a tractor in
working.
front.
And so forgive the lack of
Lack
high-speed
of
drag race.
enthusiasm, yes, it's not here. Now from my passenger seat bum, I do think this feels a bit stiffer than your one, and that's fair enough, it has the RS suspension. It does kind of,
In a
I
good
won't say
way,
it's
though.
crashing, it's actually pretty comfortable, but it's definitely more stiff than your own setup.
I
that's for
prefer
sure.
it.
You do you? It's just nice, isn't it?
It just suits the car so much better.
It does, and it encourages a bit more spirited driving than the IV.
For sure.
I could see it there.
I suppose we better talk price.
Yes, let's talk price. So, a diesel RS starts at about €43,000 entry level, and then today's car is about 46, 47 because of those extras we mentioned earlier, like the seats.
Interesting. The IV starts at around the 45 mark. Similar to this, it's got about €3,000 worth of extras on it, which brings it up to the 48. But then you can take off that government grant of 2,500, which brings you back down to 45.5.
45. So they're very similar priced.
Very similar priced.
Yeah, I don't know. They both are a bit hamstrung by that badge, I feel. It's not that this isn't fun, it's just there are other hot hatches out there that are quite a bit more fun than this and encourage more sporty driving. This is a bit more grown up and hot.
I mean, the diesel hot hatch was always a bit of a juxtaposition, really, wasn't it?
Maybe it was. But it's still incredibly competent, very comfortable, actually a great cruiser. I think that's what it feels like more
Totally.
to me. A GT cruiser covering the miles comfortably.
But with a
and
bit of
confidently.
fun on top, and that's what I like about
Yeah,
it.
and actually impressive fuel economy figures as well.
Really, what are we
Yeah.
talking?
Well, the quoted one is 5 litres per 100 kilometres, and depending on your driving style, I think you'll get anywhere between like less than that, like 4s if you're just doing pure motorway or 100 kilometres an hour, that kind of driving. I think you'll actually do better than 5. And then this is averaging like 6 because of journalists driving it, basically. I'm going to say it, that's why.
He said it.
Yeah, we all know it's true. But its party piece is that mid-range boom. That's when it puts a smile on your face. Other times, not really. You're not going to be carving up corners and kind of playing around with it a bit. It's very composed.
Do you think that the diesel hot hatch might have had its day?
Ooh, that's a good question. Who else are doing them? Focus still has the diesel ST, don't they?
The GTD still going?
Oh yeah, that's still on the go. Now here's one for you.
Go on.
They are the two cars that are most popular down the country in my eyes with the gal ads.
You told me this
I know,
before.
it's true.
It's not a thing in Dublin.
It is down here. It is GTD Golf versus VRS TDI are like.
So, and is it directly correlated to whether you're playing Clover County?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm not sure which is which.
But there's
'cause
plenty of room for training bags and footballs and hurls in
so
the boot,
much
to be
room.
fair.
Yeah, and the boys in the back out, you know, happy out. This is the captain's car though, you know.
Is it?
Oh, a brand new RS.
I didn't realise that
You're the
driving an RS
business.
made me a coachie. So here we are.
Yeah, this is to conclude the video.
We asked the question.
We did. Was anyone wondering the answer?
I hope
Hopefully.
so.
Hopefully.
What flavour RS would you go for?
Personally, I'm still leaning towards this diesel. It's good looking, it's frugal, it's easy to live with, it's practical, it's pretty fun, and that's where it maybe is the downside. It's not fully hot,
Warm.
unlike today.
The warm.
It's boiling. Yeah, it's warm.
I think I'm with you there. I think I'm preferring diesel flavour as well.
Yeah,
I thought this car was going to be the answer to all my motoring questions, and
it wasn't.
I just feel like it's trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Like between the RS badge, the electric element, like if you're really bought in to the plug-in hybrid thing, I'd almost just go with the standard Octavia plug-in. If you really want the fun of an RS, go full fat petrol. So actually that would be my #1 choice. But if it was between these two, I'd be sticking with the trusty diesel for now.
Yeah, petrol one, these somewhere else.
You look really cool with your sunglasses, by the way.
Thanks.
Why don't you wear them more often?
Is that an insult? What, to hide my face? Get lost, how dare you?
So I hope we've answered that question.
Yeah, me too. I really hope we've answered that.
I hope we did answer. It's very hot.
I'm too hot.
It's so hot. It's
we
32
need to get
degrees
out
in
of
Ireland.
this.
Is this global
I am
warming?
not suited to this. This is global warming.
Well, that's diesel's fault.
Yeah, so it's sort of good, but clearly we're not cut out for this.
No.
No, I'm offensively pale. I need to get inside.
Let's go.
Yeah, bye.